Greetings once again. Today's continued talk, if you will, focuses on something called the 100K rule when it comes to vehicle manufacturer, and in this case, the Model 3. The second thing we look at today is somewhat of a small survey for you. And then the third thing we look at is now that we've successfully achieved our level right now of about 5,000 vehicles a week, Tesla's ability to produce, let's say, 20,000 vehicles a month sets up a perfect situation for attention to now be focused on the semi, and that's the third part of our show. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time on our channel, please take time to like and subscribe. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. Please also note that your likes as well as your comments definitely impact how our show is ranked, and so we'd appreciate your doing so if possible. We also have a Patreon link on our page for those who can spare $1 or $2 a month. It enables us to keep improving quality of execution, which is our goal. So this is kind of second show in one day, not usual for us, but I had an opportunity to do so, thought I'd take it. The first part of our conversation today kind of goes through what's up with the 100,000 level for Tesla. So what does 100,000 units of anything mean in the auto industry? What it tends to mean, first off, in the case of Tesla, is that there's a certain throughput, both at the battery factory and at the manufacturing plant, that determines whether or not Tesla is able to get beyond break even. So Elon Musk a year ago pointed out that one of the things that I found fascinating was the fact that Elon pointed out that the Model 3 would not be profitable right out the box. He did point out that they had to get to scale first, and after achieving scale, that's where the company would start making money. So where we are right now is that if you look at the number of Model 3s, I think we're in the range of 60 to 70,000, and we'll get to scale, i.e. 100K, by the end of July, beginning of August. This should have happened 6 months ago, but it's great to see it finally arrive. So if we concentrate on this, what this then means is that the company can make money on each car versus lose money on each car, and then the amount of money racking up allows them to get well beyond break even into a profit situation that everybody's been waiting to see from Tesla, obviously from day one. So there are other implications to the 100K zone. Now, it kind of should be no big deal about the 100K zone because they've already achieved that with the Model S and have likely gotten near or exceeded that with the Model X. In the case of the Model 3, what also starts to happen at 100,000 unit production is the secondary markets become more viable. So there are a number of entities out there that make all manner of aftermarket parts and so forth. And once a vehicle has crossed that 100,000 threshold and continues to accelerate above it, the aftermarket suppliers now have good cause to start building stuff in terms of accessories and other products and services off the back end of what the company is doing. So 100,000 may not seem like a big deal, but for a number of folks, in terms of solutions for customers, it definitely makes a difference, and I'm glad to see that threshold met. The other obvious note here is that 100,000 threshold also is a sign that Tesla no longer has the full $7,500 tax credit in the United States for those who are looking for that. And I believe what this means then is you have to wait until the beginning of 2019 to get back in line to get that discount from a tax standpoint off of your vehicle. So if that number is a big deal, it might influence the buying decision of some folks who want to get that tax break that is no longer fully available. I do think this is worth reviewing because it turns out that from what I've read, the tax break, the full $7,500 tax break is not available, but uh, instead of just a jump off the cliff to zero, the tax break change has gone from a full 7,500 to, I believe, half that number. And then at a certain number threshold, it goes even less than that. So there is still benefits associated with the purchase. Um, the next thing I wanted to sort of dive into is what 100,000 units means. Well, or even the 5,000 units for that matter. Tesla is really pushing right now to get to the beginning of next year, 2019, to be at 10,000 units a week on the Model 3. And at that rate of production, it'll allow sort of global supplies to be filled everywhere where there's demand for the vehicle. And I want to really say China is a huge market that is likely to end up getting a lot of those vehicles once Tesla opens up to non-US manufacturers. Um, the next thing that I wanted to cover on this is what are the implications of 100,000 when we look at trucks? And the answer is, as we all know, trucks are a huge deal for Tesla. Daimler has pointed out that if the Tesla truck does what it says, it's the most important vehicle in the last 120 years. Well, the issue with the truck is that that truck will rely on scale batteries coming out of the Gigafactory. And once the production lines have been stabilized, both on automated production of the battery packs as well as the rest of the components of the battery pack, we now have a situation where Tesla is in a great position to have a stable Model 3 situation, and the battery packs going into the truck can simply be added to the numbers as the Gigafactory increases its production. So I think this is really exciting news. I was actually kind of surprised. One of the reasons I decided to make this show was that as of, let's say, the middle of June, there's a big discussion of will Tesla go under? Will they make their 5,000 units? Tesla's now exceeded, rolling at about 6,000 units a week. And the discussion has switched from will they go out of business to trying to find other negative elements that one can focus on for the company. And happily, there isn't a whole bunch to support that negativity right now. So I wanted to sort of bring this up in general because, the fact of the matter is that the more stable the Model 3 is, in addition to the other two vehicles, Tesla can now focus on future projects that are huge in terms of implications. And I really think that, there's been discussion of the Model Y, but I think that's slightly irrelevant. And here's why. So one of the most important trends that has been going on with all vehicles, at least in the United States and in high cost areas around the world, is that there's been a big transition in terms of how users operate. A friend of mine who owns a dealership for Maserati and Audi, as well as a couple of other makes, made a point, which is that consumers have now changed their behavior to the point where 59% of the purchases that are going on right now are for SUVs. So what this then means is the Model Y is actually a big deal because Tesla's plan is to produce the Model Y on the Model 3 platform. And so you kind of have a few Model 3s, then a Model Y, in essence, a small SUV to sort of partner with the Model X in terms of vehicles available. So why I chose to bring this up right now is there's a top secret way you can get a Model Y right now without having to wait for 2 years to get it. And that is get the performance version of the Model 3 and make sure you choose the air ride suspension. So there are several reasons why people choose to get SUVs. Number one, you have clearance related to snow and ice in rough conditions. Number two, you actually have a change in the viewpoint of the vehicle away from sitting behind other vehicles. You're now sitting up higher. And the biggest one is number three, is that An SUV gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how your space is set up, so that you can carry more people or more goods to and fro. So the general idea for the SUV dominance is that as real estate prices rise, fewer people can afford to have one vehicle exclusively dedicated to an activity. So 3 and 4 car garages go out. So one vehicle has to encompass multiple activities. So if you think about it, in the case of the Model 3 performance version, you're getting four-wheel drive, you're getting SUV clearance. The only thing you're not getting is the additional sort of trunk space that's associated with an SUV, but you don't have to wait 3 years for it, and you get most of the utility of why people buy SUVs. So I believe that because of that air ride suspension addition, it's a huge deal that the performance version is now available. And specifically, if you're living in a cold climate where SUVs really make the difference, I think it's awesome because it allows you to sort of through the back door create your SUV, and you could do other sort of enhancements that are sort of cold weather inclined in that process. So absolutely. Jerry, thanks for the comment. That is about 70K. The Congress of the United States right now seems inclined towards getting rid of anything that would support less consumption of coal or fuel and other things. So I would not be surprised if EV subsidies, the EPA is moving towards anything that hurts the weather or pollution, et cetera, et cetera. The GOP seems inclined to increase the amount of pollution as much as possible. So it's my belief that the EV credits could end up going out only because the focus is on everything that does not help the society seems to be the focus of the current Congress. So that's my expectation on that. Yes, 70K approximately is what the performance version is coming in at right now. But again, if you're in a circumstance where you live of brutal cold, et cetera, I think that it might actually be worth the extra dollars because it gives you a lot of flexibility you don't get if you choose, let's say, the four-wheel drive version without the air ride / performance suspension. The final thing that I'd like to cover today is somewhat of a survey from my viewers. What I've been doing over time is sort of watching who our subscribers and commentators are, and we try to focus on the general concept Tesla fan insight. Absolutely, Jerry, it would be a higher resale value as well because of all those other utilities that come with it. So what I wanted to review today is a survey that I'd like to do and ask if you could leave a note on this. And that is that we've been around for a little over a year and a half now. And one of the things that I've noted is that most of the folks have been great in terms of adding a lot of value with questions and comments that are consistent with the theme that we pursue as a site. I will admit that what I've noticed is that we have a subset. So we've banned maybe 50 people over the last year and a half from being able to make comments on our site, mostly because there's a set of folks who really want to see Tesla die, and so their comments were consistently in that frame. The second problem we ran into was folks who were sort of writing long themes that were designed to sort of tick everybody off. And so extremely demanding folks, in my mind, were challenging because it takes enough time to keep an eye on the news and make sure we have quality content to present. And so the survey question that pops up is, should we let all the haters back onto the site or not? Because on one hand, it ends up being a nightmare because you can end up with arguments between people that are extended at the bottom of the screen. On the other hand, it is activity. I just found that I wanted to put my energy towards how do we contribute to the success of the company and the general success of the idea of what Tesla is about. And I wasn't as much, even though I could get views from it and get a whole bunch of stuff happening on the site that's crazy. I just felt like if I was going to devote energy to something, I prefer to devote it in a positive rather than a negative light. So I'm open to you guys' recommendations because I can unblock some folks who I know are very smart people. It's just that the negativity, I almost prefer to hand them off to other sites where they can sort of take over those sites by themselves. David, thanks for the comment. Jerry also wanted to thank you for your comments as well. So I'm kind of looking forward to what you guys have to say in the notes about how do we handle, if you will, trolls or people who sort of hate Tesla. And then you get into these crazy battles of, is Tesla a horrible company or not, and all that stuff. I'll let the users that use it decide based on buying or not buying whether it's a good or bad company. And I much prefer to sort of take an opportunity to move the conversation forward without getting trapped in crazy discussions with people who you're not going to change their minds. It's just going to be sort of a pissing contest. So kind of open to what you guys have as a recommendation in this, and it'll be reflected in our activities. So in conclusion, thank you very much for that comment, Jerry, regarding covering negative aspects of Tesla. We definitely do that, but we're definitely trying to be balanced about it and make sure we're respectful of being supportive, but not also being over the top without respecting the needs of users. At any rate, definitely appreciate your taking time out once again. As a reminder, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss anything. If this is your first time on our channel, please take a look at Patreon. We could definitely use support in terms of quality of execution improvement of equipment with your financial support. Look forward to any comments or questions. It definitely influences what we choose to cover. And look forward to our next encounter on Tesla Fan Insight. And have a great day. And in German, we say Tschüss, mach's gut, French, au revoir, Hebrew, lehitrot, farvel in Dutch, and Farsi, oof. Again.